Great. Good afternoon, or rather, no, it's still morning time. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here. I'm Delgado Kirkwood, Senior Vice President of Programs for Junior Achievement of Southern California. And so welcome to Finance 101. We're going to give you a very high-level overview of money management, of credit, and what to do to prepare in a financial crisis. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And let me go all the way back up here to the top. So Finance 101, we are a nonprofit organization where we focus on financial literacy, workforce readiness, and entrepreneurship. We do this with kindergarten through 12th grade students. We had volunteers that come into the classroom that teach programming related to either finances or entrepreneurship and work readiness. So this session that we're going to do with you today is a very high-level overview of the work that we do in the schools as well as in our facility. So there is an opportunity for your students to participate in more extended programs if you're interested, and so our information will be available at the end. So let's go ahead and get started here. So when it comes to money and money management, first step is really kind of understanding what is your money personality type. What is your relationship with money? Understanding that will then help you really understand how to have money work for you. So here are the 5 personality types. And as I'm reading this, kind of like think mentally, which personality type am I? And kind of just keep that in mind. So big spenders, these are individuals that like nice things, like new gadgets, new clothing. Shoppers, these are individuals that get an emotional high from spending money, from purchasing things, as there's a level of excitement. Investors are people that are conscious about their money. They understand the financial situation that they're in, and they really try to get their money to work for them. Then you have debtors. They're not necessarily, they don't get an emotional high like shoppers do, but they're more, they spend the money unconsciously, not really understanding how much income they have available to spend. And then you have the savers. These are opposites of shoppers. They rarely use a credit card, make big purchases. They just hold on to their money. So think about what is your personality type, or think about your child. What is their personality type when it comes to money? And now there's not a right personality type or a wrong personality type. It's more about just understanding your relationship with money. And if you have the right information, you can make an informed decision when it comes to your money. So let's move on to the next piece here. So money choices spending. So now that you understand your personality type, how do you spend your money? Where are you going to put your money? So this pie graph represents your needs and your wants, kind of on average, what a family spends on a monthly basis. Now, the first piece you see listed here is pay yourself first. That's a very critical first step in terms of money management. You want to make sure that you're putting money away first. So we at Junior Achievement say you should save at least 10% of what you make on a monthly basis if you can. If you can't do 10%, then you can do a little bit less than that, but really getting into the practice of saving money on a monthly basis is going to be critical to always being prepared for potentially a crisis or an emergency or any large purchase that you need to make. Now, the other pieces, again, you see listed are your needs and wants. So after you've paid yourself first, the next thing you want to prioritize and how to use your money are your essentials. So your housing, your clothing, your food. And then third would be the entertainment or any kind of extra things, right? So kind of thinking about your money in that way. Now, when it comes to spending your money, this is something you want to do on a monthly basis in terms of looking at what you have in terms of expenses and then income. So this really becomes a practice, and a practice that you want your students to develop as well. So now let me show you kind of a sample budget. Your student is college bound, they're in school. What is money management gonna look like for them? So having a budget, a spending plan is gonna be very critical to getting their money to work for them. So, will your child work when they're in college? Will you subsidize their lifestyle? Or will there be other, maybe they got work study or a scholarship or somehow, right? But understanding what income they have is very critical first step when it comes to using a budget. Here are some examples of expenses. So food, toiletries, school supplies, entertainment, gifts, or other expenses. So your child would use this as an example. They fill out the budget and then they see, okay, do I have money left over? What am I going to do with that extra money? Am I going to put it into savings, or am I going to just maybe leave it in my checking account because I might have an emergency that comes up? You know, those things that just kind of pop up and we're never prepared for them. So being prepared for kind of those that's life situations. But having a budget is very critical, and getting into the practice of having a zero-based budget, which essentially means that you have made a plan for every single dollar that comes into your household. And this is something that you want to do on a monthly basis. Things will change month to month. You know, you might have more expenses in this line item versus another item on the next month, but always making it a habit to review your money on a monthly basis, and getting your child to do the same thing will give them the power that they need to be mindful and intentional about how to have their money work for them. So now let's move on to financial institutions. So your child may be opening up a bank account for the first time, or maybe you're switching banks. These are just some recommendations in terms of different types of institutions where to keep your money, and then things to be aware of. So understanding what interest is, you know, interest is what you would earn on any money that you are saving. So the bank will pay you interest, and then interest will also be, if you're borrowing money, the interest that you have to pay for they're allowing you to borrow money. Then you have an internet bank. This is a web-only bank, so like Allied Bank or Axos Bank. This is not a bank that has a brick and mortar. You can't talk to a banker in person. Everything is really conducted on the internet. Then you have mobile banking and online banking, which is really kind of extras that your brick and mortar bank would be providing. So having an app on your phone to do transactions, or being able to go to a website. So as your child opens up a bank account, you know, they'll need a social security card as well as a government issue ID. And then here are a few questions you should ask when you're looking for a bank. So is there a monthly service fee? Will the bank charge you for simply having money in their institution? Do they require you to deposit money on the day that you're opening up the account? Do you have to maintain a cash balance in the account? And will there be overdraft fees? So these are kind of questions that your child or you want to ask when you're helping them open up a bank account, and make sure you have an open dialogue with your banker. You know, they're providing you a service and you want to feel good about where you're keeping your money. Now moving on to savings here. So we talked about paying yourself first is very critical. It's very important. But the other piece tied to that is having a goal. Why are you saving money? Is it a large purchase you're going to make? Is it a potential medical emergency, or you've lost your job? Is it retirement? So identifying a goal of why you're saving your money is very critical, so that you know, as you're practicing and you're doing this every month, it's like, okay, I'm getting that car, or I'm saving for retirement because I want to retire by the time I'm 50 years old. This is why I'm doing this on a monthly basis. So working towards that goal. Here as an example, if you save 10%, let's say your child has $200 as monthly income. If they save $20 a month in a year, they would have saved $240, right? If you're able to, you know, save more, you know, add a couple of extra zeros and the money really begins to grow. And then if you keep your money in a money market account or a high yield savings account, you're also going to earn some interest on top of the money that you're saving as well. So kind of really looking at the right financial institution and where you want to save your money so that you're earning some interest as well. All right, just moving on now to credit. And so understanding credit. So credit report is really a history of how you have used money that you have borrowed. So how many credit accounts do you have? How much money have you earned, your payment history, and your loan information. All of that kind of put together generates a credit score. And so this is a financial institution's way of seeing, do you have the ability of actually repaying your debt? So let's talk about the credit score, which is the FICO score, and what's made up. So 10% of the credit score is new credit. So these are new credit accounts that you've opened. The types of credit that you use, a mortgage, a car loan, retail credit card. Length of credit history. How long have you been borrowing money? Has it been for 10 years? Is it just a year? The amount that you owe, the total amount that you owe on everything. And then your payment history. Are you paying things on time? So all of these pieces put together generate your credit score, your FICO score. And what you see here in this red box gives you ranges of what's a good credit score. So very good, 720 to 850. On the lower end would be 300 to 599. Now, if you've ever find yourself in a situation where your credit is affected somehow, know that you can improve your credit. It will take a while to do it, but you can always get yourself out of a situation. Just have to kind of do the work around that. So that's just kind of some information related to the FICO score there. Now, how would your child build good credit history? So they're off to college, they have a job. That is the first step. You want to make sure that you have income in order to pay the credit card back or a loan that you may have. So when you're identifying a credit card, you want to find a credit card that has no annual fees and has a low interest rate. You want to build good credit history by using the credit card to make daily purchases, groceries, your gas, and then paying your bill full on time when it arrives on a monthly basis. And of course, not overspending. So you don't want to charge more than you can actually pay. But having an ability to pay is the first step. So just here an example in terms of if you use a credit card to buy a cell phone. So the cell phone costs $1,000, you've used credit. The phone now has cost you $1,500 because you're paying $500 worth of interest. And so when you're using credit, it's not a bad thing. It's just being mindful of it's not going to cost you just $1,000. It's going to cost you $1,500. So is it worth it to you to pay that much in interest in order to use that credit card and in order to get that cell phone or whatever that purchase is? So you have to figure out what is the opportunity cost. Is it worth me doing this, right? So again, being very intentional about how you use your money and how you use credit. Now, are you a good credit risk? This is what a financial institution would be looking at if you're asking them to borrow money. They want to know, do you pay your bills on time? Have you missed any payments? How many credit accounts do you have? Have you paid a loan before? Are you maxed out on credit cards? And do you have a lot of outstanding debt? So just kind of being mindful again, okay, if I want to ask for money, this is what a bank is going to look for. And so knowing how to build good credit history is important. Now, here are the things that could affect your credit. So making late payments, exceeding your credit limit, applying for credit very frequently, and having an account turn over to the collection agency. So again, just kind of looking at how to build good credit is following these steps, right? So that you don't fall into a situation or your child falls into a situation when it comes to these credit dings. But again, if this happens, you can improve your credit. It just will take some time and some work. All right, and then before I turn it over back here to Carla, just very briefly, money choices during a crisis. So preparation and planning is very key. And so again, getting into that practice of being able to save, whether it be maybe just $20 or I'm not going to get the Starbucks coffee anymore and I'm going to put that money away instead. Start building up very slowly, that practice of saving. So that when you do find yourself in a situation that you have some funding to lean on there. The second thing you want to do is create a bare bone budget, right? Just focus on the necessities, just your needs, your rent, your food, your utilities, mortgage. All the niceties would have to just hold for this moment in order to get through a crisis. Calling service providers, asking for assistance. Everyone is always willing to help, just making a phone call and they will work with you. If you can, reduce debt. And obviously, please don't make any big purchases, right? So holding off on any big purchases. And if you have the time and you're able to do so, educate yourself. Try to develop a new skill. You might develop a new industry, develop a new stream of revenue. Every challenge in life really is an opportunity. So how can you turn a challenging situation into an opportunity? So taking that time to really develop a new skills. So these are some of the tips and recommendations that we at Junior Achievement are suggesting if you find yourself in another crisis. So I'm going to pause there to see if there's any questions in the chat. Carla, or anyone wants to ask a question live?
So this is your opportunity to ask Kat, our expert here, on any information that she has presented or follow up. Okay.
No problem if you don't. I can also make this PowerPoint available if anyone is interested. Yes, Rose.
Hi, I have a question. Okay, so I'm in the process of trying to rebuild my credit. What, like, so far I have like a couple of credit cards. I'm not over my spending limits or anything like that. But I was thinking like, should I join? My question, I guess, is like, would a credit union help me, like, rebuild my credit? Because I have a couple of accounts at Bank of America, but I don't know. I feel very lost when it comes to credit and like, building credit. Like, I was in that habit of like paying my bills, but like paying them late and not knowing that it was affecting me, and affecting my credit score. And now I realize that. So what is it, like a good thing for me to join a credit union? I think I just feel lost. What are the steps that I need to do?
Yeah, I would say, Rose, the first step is really making a list of everything that you owe in terms of your credit. And you want to try to pay off the small amounts first and then begin to try to attack the larger amounts. Because essentially what you want to do is try to pay off everything that you owe, right?
Okay.
In order to rebuild kind of that credit score. And then also, they also want to see in terms of the credit score that you at least, let's say you have $700 worth of credit that you can use. You should have like 30% of it in active use at all times, because that also helps with credit, because that means you know how to use credit wisely. But what I would try to do right now is just kind of list out everything that you owe and then try to pay off as much as possible to really help in terms of like being able to pay things on time. And then with the credit unions, it's just another financial institution. And so, yes, you can reach out to them. You can let them know your situation and someone will work with you there as well. But I would say that would be kind of a first step, is kind of understanding everything that you owe right now. And can you start paying off the smaller amounts so you get to the higher amounts?
And you know what, Rose, thank you for asking that question, because like Rose, there's many of us who have been in that position, and maybe even currently, some of our families have lost their jobs, and so they're living from credit card to credit card, trying to balance expenditures that way. Also, your credit cards might be willing to work with you during this crisis. So take advantage of that, contact them and see if they might be able to work with you in terms of reducing your interest rates or defer payments, et cetera. And, like Kat said, the credit unions may also help you in identifying possible options for maybe consolidating your debt into one or whatnot. So there's several options for you right now. And again, this isn't just for Rose, this is for everybody out there who is feeling the same way that she is, a little lost, a little wanting to get a step ahead and wanting to save and start, financial health is our financial wealth. So I credit you for speaking up and sharing this with us. Any other questions out there?
Yes, I do. I don't know if anyone can hear me. Good morning.
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, thank you for this session. My question has to do with, I guess, the two-part question has to do with the first one in terms of the credit score.
Mm-hmm.
For example, let's say I had a credit for a long time. I'm not a big spender. I didn't use it, but I noticed recently, because I signed up for Credit Card Karma to check my score, because I am planning to move into a bigger home to accommodate this new lifestyles of education my kids are facing, going to school from home, so that to minimize the distraction, have them focus and try to encourage them, to give them the environment to do well. So I noticed that one of these credit cards, they decreased my credit limit, and I believe that affected my score. Then why would they do that? And how long is it going to take for me to bring my score back up because of, my intention to buy a home? And that is one question. The second question is, are there other amenities out there for parents or mothers or breadwinners who want to stay at home to assist in teaching the kids at home. Something from that for them to do online so that they'll have time to do, take care of the family and also to make ends meet. If you have any suggestions, thank you.
Yeah, I can answer the first part of the question, and Carla, maybe you the second part. So the one related to credit, and as you mentioned, as I understand that you've had credit for a long time, but you just weren't using that particular card. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the other piece too, is surprisingly, you're like, I have credit, but I'm not using it. So why would my credit score be low? It actually decreases because there's no activity. You have to at least be using 30% of the credit that's been given to you. So as long as you are using it and you are paying it back in full consistently, that will help to increase the score back up.
Okay, thank you.
In terms of resources for families or single heads of households during the pandemic who are wanting to stay at home to support their children, at this point, I'm personally not aware of any of those. Doesn't mean that now with our new administration, I know that they're rolling out new initiatives and support for families, because unfortunately, you're not the only family going through this crisis. We know that there's a variety of single heads of households or even two-parent income households where both parents have unfortunately gone through unemployment, and some who have opted to stay out of the job market because they are at home supporting their children. So look out for any updates. I know the County Board of Supervisors always posts new information on their websites about any financial support or programs that are out there for families. LA County Board of Supervisors has a website where you can go to, and they usually have the latest postings about any financial support or relief funds for families, if that's any helpful for you.
Thank you. Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
So with that, we are exactly at 12 noon, lunchtime for everybody. But I know Kat wanted to show us a video. So if you all would like to stay a little longer, she could play the video for you and you can see a little bit more about what these resources offer. Know that we will be providing these resources also on the webpage, on our GATE programs webpage, so that you can access it yourselves and be able to go through it with a fine-tuned comb. I recommend that parents, you sit with your child and you look at these together. It's so important that you all start having that open dialogue about relationship with credit, relationship with money, and establishing that goal, that long-term goal for your family, but also for them individually as they become young adults. You want them to be financially responsible and financially healthy. So Kat, do you want to play the video? We welcome you to stay along.
Yeah, and this particular video, just for everyone, is about a new instructional model that we're opening up at Crenshaw High School. So really going back to a lot of what the presenter was sharing in terms of your gifted students, this is going to be a new instructional model where students are going to be learning case methodology, which really happens at the college level. And this is an opportunity for students to solve real life business cases in collaboration with their classmates and in their classroom with their teachers. And so this quick video here is related to one of the case challenges, and it kind of illustrates some of the work that the students will be doing at Crenshaw High School. So let me go ahead and share my sound here and I'll play this video. Can everyone see the video coming up?
We are here for the culminating event of a case challenge that we partnered with 3DE and the Parkview High School 9th grade students. It's just been great to see the journey that the students have had from the moment they began to today when they're delivering their recommendations and their research.
At the core of what we do at 3DE, we believe there's a direct link between quality education and economic opportunity.
Our mission is to inspire and prepare young people to succeed in a global economy. And so really doing all those things to make sure that they're leaning into education all throughout their educational career and adding that relevancy, that authenticity, that experiential nature that's needed in order for students to understand why their education is important.
Each case challenge typically lasts 5 weeks long, and that begins with the company coming in to launch the case challenge. They'll provide our students with some content related to the case issue and then introduce the history of the company. During week 2 and week 3, the company representatives come in as business coaches to facilitate the collaboration process for our students, provide their expertise in the classroom, and really also give them career perspective from their own experience.
The challenge that LexisNexis presented to us was which international market do they want to expand to for their insurance initiatives. The choices were China, the UK, and Brazil. And we chose the UK, and here's why.
As a LexisNexis employee, these opportunities are really incredible for high school students to get a window into what it is to have a real career.
I actually went to Parkview High School to coach the students on how to create their presentations and then ways in which they can improve their actual presentation.
They have to get in, they have to investigate, they have to engage. They're not just reading about a company or watching videos about a company, they're collaborating with the company, partnering with the company to help them solve a problem. You can't get that from a book.
From day one, we have come a long way.
We divided up the project. So some people did research on one country, some people did research on another country, and then we all came together.
At the beginning, I had one conclusion, and then my teammate had a different conclusion.
So sometimes I did give in, but sometimes I didn't back down.
You really went above and beyond in terms of the information. Something like Brexit and being able to really understand it and explain it, that was quite impressive.
At the end of this culminating event, there will be one winner that is chosen by LexisNexis judges.
See the excitement in the kids, kind of feed off of that. Really to engage with them and their journey of learning, and maybe even get a little bit out of it for LexisNexis, but mostly just to enjoy the opportunity to engage with the high schoolers.
I was really excited and confident, and then I was like a little bit nervous on the stage.
You felt like the rush going through your body, and you knew that there were important people watching, so you wanted to do really good.
Drum roll, please. And the winner of our contest today is team number 2. Congratulations.
This was absolutely worth it, and I would absolutely recommend this program to my colleagues, and hopefully champion this program to a point where we get much more involvement.
Without the volunteers, this wouldn't have been possible. So I'm truly grateful for the volunteers who participated in this initiative, particularly the business coaches, because that required them to go out to Parkview High School to coach these students to ensure that they had a good understanding of LexisNexis Risk Solutions and what we do here, and then to help see them grow through the process.
The most valuable thing I learned is to have trust in your teammates, because if your trust isn't there, then they won't be able to bring out effective results. So putting that trust in them and they're putting their trust in you really helps with the final results.
Well, there you go. I'm going to go back to this other screen here. We wanted to share a little bit about 3DE and how it works. And again, this will be starting at Crenshaw High School in the fall of 2021. And so there's an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about it. There's going to be some information nights taking place. Let me go back to the screen here. And again, we'll get this to you as well if you're interested, and these will be happening via Zoom here. Forgive me, I'm going really fast. I hope I'm not hurting your eyes here. So we have some info sessions that will take place on February the 10th, as well as February the 24th. I can actually, let me see if I can copy this link here, and then I will drop it in the chat. And if anyone is interested in participating, then happy to have you. Carla, was there anything else you wanted to share on 3DE?
Absolutely. It's, like I said, it's one of the first programs ever in LA Unified. We're looking to recruit students who are highly interested in going and exploring the finance, engineering, and business entrepreneurship programs. As you saw, some of the students in the video talk about how they're learning real world application. They're finding problems, they're looking for problems. I mean, they're given problems, and then they have to find solutions for those problems as a team. This is the type of case study methodology that a lot of universities are utilizing. So then they will be better prepared to go into those types of career pathways. So happy to be able to connect with you all. And if you are interested in enrolling your child or know of other children who would be interested in this informational sessions, Kat has copied the link right there with all of the different events leading up to possibilities for enrollment at Crenshaw. So we appreciate your time and consideration. And please feel free to reach out to us should you have any additional questions.